Welcome to the Grown Up Group. This is a podcast by regular people tackling the world from a Black perspective. I'm here with Ty, Jazz, and Victor, and I'm
Hey,
Shakira. Our topic is school curriculum. What are you guys' intakes on it? What are your
I'll go
do's and
first.
don'ts about it? Yeah.
I like your
Right,
little shoulder shake.
right. I noticed
He
that.
got kids.
Um, I'll go first. I think school curriculum is I won't say trash, but pretty much not even useless. I won't use that word. But the subjects that are being taught is not realistic. Like, come on, like it's not. Like they took away a lot of stuff from us. They took away home economics. They took away shop. They took away automotive. They took away all these things that can actually help you in real life. To take them out to put them in trigonometry class. Like I don't really like, maybe one day I use trigonometry, but 99% of the time I'm not going to use trigonometry. I'm going to use what if we had a job using our hands and actually learning and hands on with stuff? It's like none of the stuff that they're teaching matters. They're just making it harder for minorities. I'm gonna just say minority students to excel because they have these crazy tests and these crazy standards and this crazy stuff that it does not matter in the real world. It does not matter. I promise you it don't. Like when we were in school, we had home economics. I had clothing. I had sewing. I made oven mitts. I made a shirt I still have to this day in clothing class. In ninth grade, I still have it. I'm talking about this stuff could have took me somewhere in life, or just in everyday life, even with cooking, even with getting a flat tire, anything. And I was like, yeah, but this math class that we're not gonna ever use in life again. This what matters. So, and it's
Yeah.
to me, it's stupid. It really is.
I agree. I wish they would get back to basics, arithmetic. You hand somebody
Right.
back change and you look at them and you're like, okay, how the heck you don't understand what a $10 bill and you spent five of it and what that change should be? That's crazy to me. You sit there for 5 minutes counting out something so basic to me. It's because they've taken the basic fundamental things out of school and gave them the complex parts of it. I can't understand how you tell me 1 plus 1 or 1 plus 19 equals 45. It just makes no sense to me.
Right.
1 plus 19 equals 20. Done. Like,
20.
and it's this weird math that they bring home from school and they sit in front of you and you're like, and what nonsense is this? And where did they create it and why would they create something like this? So get back to basics, arithmetic. One
Right.
plus one equals two, just is math. And math was complicated by itself. We had to take algebra in high school. We had to take trig.
Right.
I had to take trig because I was in an
Right.
actual advanced school, but I had to take
Right.
those things because it was a requirement. Does trig help me today? I was an accountant for 10 years. So I want to say yes. I had to find the X and Y. I found it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is a
Right.
missing sum? I gotta find it.
Right.
Science, bring back something so simple as science. Put beakers in the
Right.
classroom. Let these kids sit back and do little
Be
experiments. Stop throwing them
on.
up so fast and teaching them sexual education and teach them actual science, the basics. Tell them about their actual element table. Tell them about those type of things. They don't even know that anymore. I asked somebody about gold and they were like, yeah, it's Geo. And I was like, Geo is the element. That's the actual letters on the element table. And they were like, well, what else would it be? And I'm like, AU.
Mm-mm. They don't know. It's crazy.
Like
We
you
was
just
in school,
acronym,
right?
you gave me an acronym GO for gold, and I'm like, that's madness. Bring back gym.
Right.
They need physical education. This whole entire America, whole United States. Obesity is at its fastest growing height. Please give them gym. Please give them some physical activity. Let
Right.
them run
And
that
that,
ball from one end of the track to the other, just like we
like
did.
we
Spread out
had
their
to
perms and
do.
their wigs and their weaves, and maybe they'll stop
Yeah.
wearing
And
them.
it's
Right.
right. And the crazy part is that would actually help with a lot of these kids having this, what they say ADHD and stuff. Burn that energy. Let them burn that energy.
Burn that
Let them
energy
run.
out. Exactly.
Run. They be too tired to
Absolutely.
help the teacher out in the next period. They be too tired.
Yeah,
Right.
So
I agree.
it's crazy to me. Is like ludicrous. Like don't none of this stuff really matters. And I think it's actually to cripple these kids, so they
Yeah,
won't be
yeah,
able to
Right.
work. Because then put like this, them things that home economics, gym, even music class, all this stuff can actually lead to a career.
Right.
If I can take home economics now, maybe I'll be interested in being in cooking later on. I could be a chef. Maybe if I had automotive class, and then maybe I could actually go be study automotive. I could do all this. I could put
You could
together
be a
an engine.
mechanic.
A mechanic, right? So it's like you are taking stuff from kids that can actually work for themselves and be bosses, but school was intended to make you work for somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I want to see history. I want to see real history taught.
Black history.
Real history.
Right.
I say
Tell the
real
truth.
history. Like, I don't want to hear about George Washington chopping down a tree. I don't give a crap about him chopping down a tree. What I care about is what he actually put in place while he was chopping down his tree. I want to hear about his policies. I want to hear about, if he was a racist. I want to hear about, anything and everything about our historical characters. I don't want to hear anything about Columbus in our history book, because we know that's all a lie. I want to hear real stories, how we are actually, as a people in a nation, Blacks, have created about 90% of inventions, how we are not credited for those inventions, and how they taught us only 5 basic Black people in America: Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Frederick Douglass.
Rosa Parks, something like that.
Frederick Douglass before that era. Frederick Douglass, and there's somebody else I'm forgetting, but there's a 5th one. But that's all that they taught us. That's all they. That's all they.
This is satisfying us. Like, here, take that.
Yeah,
we helped out. You said it. Yeah.
Fill those history books with the truth. Stop talking and telling us about how we were so oppressed and just slavery, like we came up nothing from that. I hate the fact that they keep putting that in our face. And I know that slavery has come up in our conversations as well as racism, but is a part of our history. I'm not trying to avoid our history. I just don't want them to continuously take our history and use it against us to keep us there. Right. I don't mind them talking about a chapter of it, but it's not going to be the whole damn book. Okay. So I want to know that. I want to know that. I want them to treat them and actually show them financial responsibility. And they're really afraid to show that financial and finance. They need to learn that. They need to know exactly what to do with a bank book when they get it, what it looks like. They need to know what a checking account is, how to balance. They need to know when they get into a job market, how to save, their money and what it looks like. They need to show them a little bit once they get out of the actual elementary school system and move into high school. They should be teaching them about stocks and bonds and investments. Why they're not doing that?
But no,
well, they don't
in
want
high school, right?
I know why.
I was in high school, and I was in summer school in high school at Weekway a long time ago. And I forgot exactly what happened. And we ended up in this classroom because I think after a few teachers didn't show up for the job anymore, everybody was like, it's not for me. They put us in this classroom. And this classroom actually was like an advanced, I want to say summer program or either advanced something. I don't think it was like, because these kids that were in here were not for summer school. They were for like like you go to school the regular time, and then you actually go during the summertime. It was a program to help them excel even more. I forgot the name of this program. And then we ended up in this class eventually. It wasn't our class because we were actually in summer school because we messed up on some classes. But this classroom they put us in because it was like this last resort. And we were in here, and they actually taught us how to balance a checkbook. They would give us like money or like points every week. We have to earn them points. Once we earn them, they gave us a checkbook. And at the end of the week, we could actually take our points and buy stuff off the shelf at the school. And once we did that, they had to get our checkbook out, take the money out, bounce the checkbook out, and every week we got to do something. And I'm like, to myself, I'm like, well, why do they get this opportunity to do this? And why is it not in every classroom and being taught? It's only taught to the kids that had good grades. That was weird to me. I'm like, we just have to learn this too. They made sure that we didn't learn this type of stuff. They stopped, and they slowly but surely, they stopped. We even had graphic arts in school. Once I did all the arts I could do, I did the basic arts, and they actually taught us graphic arts. You know why I learned the graphic arts? Nothing. And I'm going to say it now because the teacher who was supposed to teach us, he said he was in an inner city school with Black kids. We didn't want to learn nothing. So what he did was he put us on the computers, and he said to us, we're going to make business cards. We made business cards. I'm not sure my business card was, but we had drug dealer business cards. People had stripper business cards. This is something just to say he did something with us. He never really taught us how to even do anything with that. And so at the end, we had to take a test. I'll tell you what the test was even supposed to be on. He said, lock the door. I'm gonna write all the answers down on the board. Y'all write them down on the paper. Y'all copy them down. And then after that, we're going to erase them. And that's how we passed his class. Wow. So he was just like, I promise you, we learned nothing in this class. He was like, y'all Black, y'all inner city kids, nobody cares about y'all. I'm going to throw something at y'all. He basically said that in so many words. But we could have learned in that class. We could have been graphic artists now to this day.
Crazy.
But they took that all that stuff out of school. It was so much we had in school. They took it out.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. It's just nuts.
it is. It is. It really is.
And
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, now at this day and age, like, a lot of these teachers are overly stressed.
Yeah.
And I believe it's because they took a lot of these things out of the curriculum, because when I was in school, like you said, you have shop, you have gym. That was their piece right there to get themselves and regroup back for
Yeah.
when the kids come back to the classroom. So now you're in the classroom all day long, except for you get a half an hour break when the kids go to lunch. That's it. So the other 7 hours, you in a classroom full of kids, and you have different personalities in the classroom at
It's
a young
crazy.
age. So you had kids jumping around, and these teachers are overly stressed. I believe they should bring it back. And also, importantly, I hate the fact that they took writing out.
I was
Oh
about
my
to
They
God, that
they
and they
took
had an actual course in school. It was I forgot they had typing class and they had we had career education.
Yeah.
Then we also had no funny. We had actually had sex education where they used to. I was elementary school. I never forget. I was elementary school at Cleveland School, and then people would come. I want to say maybe once a year, maybe once. I don't know how often they came. I remember them coming more than one time, and they would actually teach us about our cycles, about sex, about this, about that. And then over the years, I guess the parents got a little squeamish about it, or they like, I teach my kids teach the kids ourselves. I don't know what happened. Maybe the funding got taken away, and then they also used to come around. I don't know if because y'all a little bit older than me. Anyway, so it actually used to have the people come around. Remember the mouthwash? Did y'all have that?
yes.
They took that out. Now I don't know if they had some of that mouthwash that later on it's causing something happen, whatever. They got tricks up their sleeve. But they used to come out and teach about hygiene and
Right.
all kinds of stuff. Now these kids walk around stinking pregnant. Because you took everything out. Stinking pregnant. Now you're stinking pregnant and you're like, come on, it's crazy.
Not
Yeah.
stinking pregnant.
I tried to hold it.
For real, because you took it out. Listen, I have so many stories, right? I have kids who are of high school age. I have kids who just not just graduated. They graduated a few years ago from high school. And the stuff my daughters would tell me and say to me, that they friends would go through, I would look at them like, I don't want to call our generation, we're going to use the word ignorant. Because I don't want to use the D word, the dumb word. I don't want to use that to describe these kids. But my daughter told me one day she had a friend. I've been trying to work with these kids because I love kids, but I have a love-hate relationship with them because they're so ignorant. Because they have a phone in their hand, which is a freaking walking book. You have a whole dictionary at the palm of your hands and you don't know about it. My daughter, like, her friend, a male guy contracted an STD. He chose STD because he was burning. He ran to her, was like, I think he said, can you ask your mother about this? I feel I got AIDS. I said, laugh. I said, wait, what? I just tell him, I said, talk to his mother because I don't want to give him bad advice or the wrong advice or overstep. But baby, that's not AIDS. I was dumbfounded. Like,
In the year of your Lord 2023, the fact that they don't teach children how to do taxes is still mind blowing to me.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's a part of the previous class.
Tax preparedness is a heavy business, but to do basic W-2 taxes, every children should learn that by the 6th grade. Because I learned it by the 6th grade.
Yeah.
And that's only because the teacher chose to teach us that.
Right.
But every child should know how to do that. I mean, balancing the checkbook, children should be taught to code. And I am going to push back, Jazz. You said they don't need to know how to do trigonometry. They do need to know how to do trigonometry because that's how you end up making cell phones.
yeah. Okay.
That math is crucial.
Yes.
Be able to make cell phones, working computers, televisions, fax machines, PlayStations, the whole 9 yards. A lot of that is based upon trigonometry. So we need those sort of things. If anything, our children need more, and our teacher. Okay, since I am the non-parent of the bunch, teachers should be paid vastly more. There should be no teacher that starts especially if you're a high school teacher, no teacher should start at $75,000 a year.
I agree.
Right.
Like the fact that any teacher is out here making $40,000, $50,000 to start is mind blowing to me. That
Right.
right there will get you a better crop of teachers, and they need to not be certified as teachers, but actually have their at least their bachelor.
Right.
You know, if you have your bachelor's, you should be able to teach the grade school. If you have
Right.
anything above, then you can teach high school. You know, doctors and PhDs, obviously you teach college. That will create a better crop of student, you know, because the teachers will be more invested. And you won't get people who are, you know, this is, you know, they need to make some extra money, so they're a teacher assistant. Give me wrong, I don't know what a teacher assistant really does. You know, so I don't want to speak ill on their profession. I'm pretty sure those are good men and women, you know, but children need to be taught a lot of things, including automotive, economics, you know, being able to cook for themselves, things of that nature. You know, they should be taught that. The only thing I think children need less of is actual sex and gender.
I
You know,
agree.
teach them
Oh,
how.
this is different. You
Yeah.
talking about like sex, like okay, not actual the act of sex. You're saying?
No, I mean they need to understand what a fallopian tube is,
Yeah.
and labia and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You need to understand what
Sexual
testicles
education is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sexual education is very important. I don't want it to be based upon gender and the
Right.
whole
No, because that's
that rabbit's nest. You know,
right.
but those things should need to be taught. Children do need to know at an early age what happens when you have unprotected sex and then a child is born. There's a
Yeah.
process to this. They
The
need
ins
to
and
know
outs
these
of it.
things. Yeah, they need to know, you know, especially our girls, they need to understand how their body changes, you know, how their hormones change. You
Yeah.
know, they need to know these things. You know, so it's very important that that stuff is taught. You know, I don't want to get into the whole gender versus sex thing. I think that's a rabbit's nest that schools should totally
That's a
stay
whole
away
debacle.
from. You
Right.
know, as far as history goes, history should be taught and it should be honest, but it will never be honest because we have a system that is based in white supremacy, and they are going to fight against the idea of teaching children that Thomas Edison wasn't necessarily the person that got the electric light bulb off the ground.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. A black man
So
was.
it was Lewis Latimer.
Yeah.
Right.
That was his name. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, like that stuff needs to be taught. You know, I think one of our largest problems is that the school system is not necessarily is female geared and it's primarily female taught. And a lot of the male teachers, the reason why they don't get into it, aside from the low pay, is because they're used more than likely as guard dogs. You know, where it's like, oh well, you're the male teacher, you get the class with the tough kids.
With the exactly.
Right.
So, you know, now you become a defunct daddy to a bunch of children when
Right.
you should be teaching them instead of raising them. Because it's not the teacher's
Right.
job to raise your
Right.
child. It's the teacher's job to teach your child.
Mm-hmm.
It's their job to raise the child. And that, you know, that teamwork should be able to make a more, you know, more efficient student.
Right.
You know, the public school system and our school system in general is built to teach people to be good employees.
That's
Right.
it.
You know?
That's
So
it.
you're not going to really get, you know, business classes in the 10th or 11th grade. They're not going to really teach you how to balance your money because if you know how to balance your money, you know how to make money and create money outside of,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the constraints are of the average employee.
Right.
Yeah.
Find your self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they don't want to teach that en masse because a country full of people that are self-entitled, you don't get people to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
So, you know, that becomes a bit of a problem. And yeah, like, you know, if there were more males, particularly in black schools, I think if there were more black male teachers, then you would cut down on a lot of the shenanigans that happen. You know, well,
Yeah.
most schools, regardless of race, are female are female led in terms of the teachers. The administrative staff is mostly female. The irony is that many of the tops of the staff, i.e., the principal or vice principal, is normally male.
Right.
They're so detached necessarily from the day-to-day per class because
Yeah.
it's not their job to be the actual teacher, that a lot of things kind of slip through the cracks. I think if you made it much more, you know, much more profitable for males to be in those positions, to be educators, especially on the middle school and high school level, then you will see a definite change and improvement in student participation in general.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know,
I want to add
that's
to that.
pretty much, Yeah.
I think that they also need to go back, and this would be a high turnover for a lot of males, because men tend to think with their hands and be able to be physical more than sit there and hear, words being spit back to them for 8 hours. Trades. They need to get back into getting those trades. We used to do woodwork, but I'm talking about, we need plumbers in this world. We need electricians.
Right.
Where's the blue collar workers coming from? And right now they don't have it. I remember we at least had vocational technical schools, and that was really popular, especially in inner cities. And you don't see that now. You see a lot of the actual vocational schools and technical schools being merged to one building and trying to shove 1,500 kids in it. And I'm like, that's impossible. And it's not a great way to learn. You're not going to get, the best quality of, what happened to the trades where you had a DeVry. You see those commercials on TV, right? We would advertise those different trade schools, and you'd be like, okay, my son's going to go to mechanical school. He's going to become a mechanical engineer. He's going to be working on HVAC systems. He's going to be working at PSE&G and climbing up a wall, climbing up the, the pole to do maintenance on, electrical outlets. You don't see that. You don't hear it anymore. It's like they don't want the future generations to have a successful career, or put something in place that's outside of you paying for a 4-year institution and pulling $190,000 out of your wallet in the process. Go for these loans. They'll be high interest rate, loans, and then it ends up hurting them at the end of it, because they'll spend half of or majority of their career paying back a loan. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul because you can't get ahead of it. Those Manny Faye loans, there we are with that Manny Faye loan.
Oh, they're there.
Yeah. So I think that we need to bring trades back into the school as well. Shakira mentioned handwriting earlier, and it behooves me how you can't sign anything. How are you supposed to make a legal binding contract with an individual? Think about that. These individuals are now 10, 20 years old. Here, sign your name here, and they're writing their hands out, their name out in championship, because they never were taught the proper way of actual cursive. That's madness to me. You know what? They take it back to when slave times. You just put an X. Just put an X. Why teach them anything different? Take it away from us. The only thing that we learn to do is put our signature on something and claim and own it. And then they take that. It takes signatures out. It's overrated. Why do that to our young children? So I would love for that to get back into the school systems. It's sad that they ever thought in their minds to remove it. And I'm so okay with Victor on the comment of trigonometry being in schools. I took trig. It was a big jump in my career. I was able to walk into an accounting firm, get a job within a matter of minutes, and I was 19 years old. I mean, I was working for a prestigious accounting firm and knew very little but trigonometry. So there we are. No degree yet, but I swear I was working on my degree, and trigonometry sure enough came in handy. And that could give someone a successful head start into the right career path. If they learn certain things about learning, like how to put a solution in place and how to take things away without having actual digits and numbers, you'd be amazed the things that they could come up with to find. You said engineering, that's one component of it. Accounting is another component. Finance world is just a beast. So you could have a financial advisor you could become. Tradesmen. You got so much stuff that's out there that they just can't even tap into, because they haven't been taught the proper way of learning and gathering information. So it's a big miss. It's a huge big miss on my part. And I want to go back to something so simple. English. When you just write, you you read a book and you do reading comprehension, and then you be able to put a story together, a journal, put your own thoughts. And people are so afraid to put their own thoughts in paper. Put it in writing and say exactly how you feel. Spell it out. I used to write like I thought I was, Jane Austen or somebody, I'm be the next Edgar Allan Poe, girl version. I really would pour this stuff in. If I read it now, it'd be a joke. But it's just sad that they strip these kids of, these great curriculums, and they can't really do anything once they graduate besides sit in their room, play a video game, and try to figure out what they're doing with their future.
Right.
It's really sad to me.
No, it's definitely sad.
Yeah. How do we fix that is my question.
Exactly.
How do we fix that?
I've been to the schools, I've been to the Board of Education, and I'm asking, like, why you take this out, why you take that out? The kids need this, they need that, and they just like,
listen, baby, grow it right.
They didn't have no answer.
Yeah, because they don't want to tell you that the state has pulled that money.
Yep.
Is that, you know what? And, my son's
Funding.
fifth grade
I was gonna
teacher
say
told me.
funding.
My son, his fifth grade teacher told me, because that's when I found out that they wasn't doing writing anymore or whatever. And he said because of funding. I'm like, funding? Like, are you kidding me?
Money, yep.
So you're depriving these kids of education and because of funding. So that's when I went to the Board of Education, like, because I didn't really believe him, but I did believe him. I'm like, maybe he just telling me that to throw me off, because I was in there going off. Like, my son don't know how to write cursive. He's in the fifth grade. I've been taught cursive second, third grade.
So you start out like that, yeah.
Exactly. So I went to the Board of Education in the town that we lived in, and they was basically like, we
Hey,
don't
ain't on
know.
us. Right.
Exactly. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then I really just sat and thought, like, no writing, no home economics, no going to shop. And a lot of kids, and I'm pretty sure if the kids had that in the schools, the kids wouldn't be so bored.
Right.
And
Something to do.
Something to get
exactly,
up and stretch their legs, to get up and go in one classroom to the next classroom. What was amazing.
You know what, too? I know they took out a lot of field trips.
Oh,
My son was in
yeah.
high school. All my son was in high school. And I can probably tell on my hand how many times they went on a field trip. They took him to the museum as if it's always like the museum. Take to the museum, like making somebody we're doing so much for these kids. The museum is fly. It's cool. You should want to go there. But you walking them through a dinosaur exhibit.
Exactly. And we've been going there since we was in kindergarten.
Right. Like take them somewhere else. Like take them somewhere else. Crazy to me how these kids just sit in this place all day. And these teachers be driven crazy. And then you wonder why. And then when we was in high school, right? We had like a science class. You know the eye wash and the thingy, you pull the thing down, the water come out. We almost had to use them things because we really was working on stuff in school. We really was doing stuff in school. We were hands on. We had fashion shows that showed people talent.
Yep.
We had all kinds of
Yep.
stuff going on. And it's like now these kids have nothing.
Yeah.
They have
That's
absolutely nothing going on in schools. Like, yo, then they try to baby us and spoon feed us little small list of, oh, we took them on a field trip to the museum. I bet. What they learned at the museum? You just walked around the museum to satisfy somebody. No, see somewhere else.
that all is a function of funding. The reason why they take children to the museum is because the least likely chance of you get hurt, your child getting hurt and suing us, is them walking around a dinosaur exhibit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take your child to somewhere where they can learn a particular life skill, because if something happens, you'll sue the school.
That's crazy to me, but then they make you sign these
job on the
forms
line.
saying,
That's the superintendent's job on the line. That's the principal, the vice principal. That's a lot of people's job on the line for your kid.
Yeah.
And they're
but then
already
you
not
see
getting
some
any
other
funding.
kids in other schools go other places. You're like, well, how that kid go there? And we're in the same city.
Or
But they
funding
got
for
these
the
other
schools.
kids. Huh?
Or funding for the schools. And let me tell you how they get that funding. Because
Charter schools get more funding. They go to the same people, but they get their money. They get their money and stuff from the same people. But for some reason, the public schools who ask for the money is so hard. These schools are getting this money. You're like, how? How these kids going to these places? But then also, like you were saying about the funding or about somebody getting hurt, but they make you sign a permission slip saying they're not liable for anything that happens to your child.
Yeah, that's flimsy. That's flimsy. Any lawyer can get around that.
Right. I'm like, please, I can get around that. Because something really happens to these kids on these trips, they ain't got nothing to even do nothing with the kid actually doing something to themselves. Things happen.
Yeah, but when you sue the school because something happened to your kid, that permission slip is not going to save them in court.
Right.
Now, where the schools mostly get funding from is from property taxes. So yes, an inner city school is not going to get a lot more funding because the property taxes are low. Now, if you live in West Caldwell, or you live in in Ocean City, your school's going to be better funded. Why? Because the property taxes are higher.
Wait, what is it? Is it Newark? Don't Newark have really high property taxes too?
Newark doesn't even have. Newark just recently got control of their school system. You understand? For the past 35 years or so, Newark, the state had control of Newark school system.
I remember.
Just got it maybe about 8-9 years ago.
And that's how nobody could, like, with the property tax being so high, nobody figured out to work that out.
Well, the property taxes are not as high as somewhere like Upper Montclair. And the city is larger, so there are more things they have to pay for. Those property taxes also pay for fixing your road.
The roads and stuff like that.
They pay for everything else. They pay for the upkeep and stuff of that nature. the streets, the light poles.
And that's why I always say, if I had the money, I would. If I was a millionaire, I just don't understand certain stuff. I just don't. Me personally, I'm a giver. And if I was a millionaire, and then I know these people in these inner city schools need to go on a trip, I would fund that trip somewhere that's better than the museum. But I don't know. It's just people.
I wish we could throw money at the problem, but we've seen that where has happened in the past where you see people donate money to inner city youths, and the principals and as Board of Education misallocate the funding, mysteriously disappear. I wouldn't definitely throw
And
money
how do
at
you
the
get away with
situation.
that? Like, how do people get away with that? Like, it's being stolen directly in front of people's faces. Like, because the stuff is not happening. The stuff that we were promised, the kids are not getting it. And
There
then,
was a
like, where's the money
documentary.
going?
But it was a documentary where it was a principal and he was a fraud. He was in, all kinds of, scandalous activity. It was on Netflix. And when I watched it and I said, every single person, his secretary, the administrative staff, everybody that he answered to, he was a schmoozer. So he found ways around it. He tap danced. Oh, every time they asked him for money, he gave him some story about how they was going to go on these field trips and how he was going to get 18 buses and all this and that. And it would cost the city money. It cost them money. So immediately he would put that into the funding account. And then immediately, like one day, they just was like, let's open these books and see exactly where the dollars and cents went. And in his pocket, that's where exactly it went.
Wow, to me.
And I said, we see it happening in our local neighborhoods. So to watch something on Netflix where it's, happening in another city and state, I'm not even surprised by it because I'm like, okay, this is a small little town, and they just really trustworthy. So, it's easy to pull a wool over somebody else's eyes when you're in a small town. You're here in an actual city where you have maybe about 10, 12 levels of management above you. But if everybody's getting their pockets packed, we're going to turn a blind eye and shh.
That's sad too. I get it. That's sad.
What it comes down to. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you look at the $300 million that Cory Booker got in his first from Mark Zuckerberg, you can see where the money actually went to. Because if you look at Central, you look at North Tech, they are brand new sprawling buildings, tons of millions of dollars. So you have to pay for the land. You have to pay for the staffing. You have to pay for the people to reconstruct the thing. You have to pay for the new books, the new lockers. You have to pay for a myriad of things. On top of, the fluffing of funding, all of a sudden now you need $1,500 per desk. You got 3,000 desks. Everybody needs new pens now. Pens are $30 a pop. That's how the money gets eaten up, and everybody goes, "Oh, where the money went?" Well, you're looking at it. It's sitting on the corner. It's nice and brand and shiny. There's no room for the children. They get to go through one nice trip a year per senior class.
And they're barely nice trip. They won't take them to Great Adventures. Like, let's be for real.
I was just going to say Great
But
Adventures.
I did want to add context to that because, Victor, you said something. And I'm like, when I look at Newark Tech, which is my alma mater, I just want to say that, represent Newark Tech. But I do want to say, what did they do? They stripped one vocational school, they patted into another, so they stopped paying taxes on that one property, and then they fed into another building. They added to it, which created an atrium around the front foyer of the school. That wasn't additional property that they had to develop and purchase.
See, you haven't seen their brand new state-of-the-art gym.
Oh, the state-of-the-art gym. Yes, I have seen it. It's not nothing to write home about. I'm sorry. I've been in gymnasium that was 10 times that size over here where I'm at, and they spent less money in value. So even though you could say that, I've seen these school districts where they've actually had funding handed to them, and they could say, "Oh, it's all in the construction cost," and then I'm the one on the end of the construction cost, and I'm like, "We didn't get that." That's bullcrap.
Right. So
There's change orders that are created, purchase orders that are created, that's falsified. That's why you see a lot of New York City and New Jersey construction companies go under, and they're in the news and they're being investigated because they create that falsified accounting and finance. And then immediately when they're called to the carpet about it, they pulling out documents that's not signed, contractually approved. Those things are called to the carpet. And I'm sorry. I know that's what you stated, but I'm like, I like to throw flag on a play because I need to see receipts. I need to see receipts for all of that.
Right. That's my thing. Nobody's
overlooking it. I was going to say nobody asking for receipts.
Nobody's looking at it. It's like, well, it's crazy. It's like I don't get that part.
Yeah,
but
I've seen it.
But it wasn't just North Tech. I mean, you got to understand.
I get it. Yes.
In the city. There are a lot of schools in the city. It's only $300 million. That's not a lot for a city. So that money will dry itself
A little
up.
bit,
300 million? Nah, for North, no, that's not a lot. That's not a lot.
a little bit.
I mean, that
That's a lot for a school district. When I look at Newark, you know what? Let's go past it.
Right.
Because I don't see the investment in the kids. That's what I'm trying to
I
say.
don't.
It's
That's
not.
my
You're
only
right.
Tell me
thing.
340 million. Let me break this down. When you say $340 million is being given to someone, and you look at our city kids, how many schools were closed? How many schools were closed in Newark right after that? That means they avoided tax write-offs. That means that they avoided those properties, and now they abandoned schools. What are we doing with those properties? Nothing. They're just sitting there. It's kind of crazy. They closed maybe about 50, 60 schools in Newark.
And
then
took all the kids and put them into other schools. And
yes,
and
separated. So what are you
them.
doing?
Okay,
You're now flooding the school district or that school specifically with another surplus of 10 kids in the classroom. And what do they walk away with that at the end of the day? Not a great education, I'll tell you that first and foremost. So while you investing dollars in making some big school or making the schools bigger, you're doing a disservice to the students because they're not getting individual attention that they really need. And they're not investing in books that's updated, that's actually having filled with knowledge. They're not giving them the school curriculum that they need to actually be successful. So what do our kids do? They suffer. And I'm sorry, 340 million and looking at the end results of what they did with it, I'm not impressed.
Please.
I'm not impressed.
No one said it was impressive. I'm just saying that this is the mindset that they're running with. I mean, they're going to, make certain schools look greater. They're going to invest more in these smaller charter schools, and they're not going to go back to the larger schools, the old school schools. They'll put money in Behringer, but they're not going to put money in certain other schools. They're just going to close them. And they did close a lot of schools over the years.
Let's make this statement correct. Let's make this statement correct. They're not going to invest in public school systems anymore.
Right.
They're going to invest in charter.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
A different tax bracket that they bring. So it's like, if my young child, Black young child, is in a school district and I want to appeal more to the white audience, think about it. Think about where Newark is headed. Yeah. I want to appeal to the more white audience and the people that live in the further cities, New York. I want them to come over to Newark. I'm going to slap a word charter, and it sounds so much more appealing. It's
all much prestigious. All prestigious.
Ghetto. So that's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to force us out, if anything, and put those people in place. I'm not impressed. You tell me you spent 340 million to make the other population come and join us. And then eventually you end up being forced out of the school because you're building these luxury homes around us. No, I see the hidden agenda behind that. To me, I'm not. That's why I said it. I'm like, wait, what? What are we putting in our school districts? Because I don't see it. We closed 60 schools just so we could satisfy the masses of white neighbors coming our way. No, thank you.
Exactly. Listen, that's what gentrification is. That's what gentrification is. I mean, there's a reason why we are one of the few Black cities aside from Baltimore that has a hockey team. That's not, that is not, it's never been lost on. You don't have a basketball team. You don't have a football team. You have a hockey team right in the middle of downtown. Everything is built for that. These people, they move from across from New York because, to get a one-bedroom apartment in these luxury apartments are $3,000. In New York, that's $4,500.
Right.
And it's only an extra 30 minutes of your commute. So people will take that wholeheartedly, especially if you're in New York and you're used to being on trains.
Right.
Exactly.
A train for an hour is just a regular day in the week.
Yeah.
That's always been a part of the plan. I always say we have the most ratchet Whole Foods down here because we have homeless people in front of them. They're not homeless people that look like you and I.
Yep, I'm aware.
So, they don't look like us. They're out there begging in front of that Whole Foods.
Exactly.
I tell them go back down Tom's River where y'all from, because y'all wasn't here before. Where y'all come from? Go back down the fucking river. Go down there, please.
No, they're not from Tom's River. They're from Hoboken.
I was just gonna say they're not.
But no, they're not from here. No, they're not from here because where y'all come from?
They get on that train and they come right over here. Let me tell you,
because where I live at is pretty. It's not far from downtown at all. I'm gonna just say that. Not far from downtown at all. And you see them by Wendy's and traffic begging. And I look at them like, you don't see, I promise you don't see no Black people over there begging. And if you do, you don't. And I'm like, where do people come from? Where did y'all come from? Go back with y'all. But they don't want that in their town, so they throw them up here. We don't want y'all up here either. Bob,
Yeah.
They come over here because they're
shaking their
told
cup.
they're
No,
told there are
they
resources.
nodding off and shaking their cup too. No, go nod off down where y'all from. Don't nod off over here. We don't want that. We don't want that hood shit. Y'all ghetto. Bye. Go back down to where y'all come from. I don't.
Yeah, them people from over in the Battery section of New York, they're from over there. It's not
Yeah.
from anywhere else. They're not coming from PA. They're not coming from South Jersey. They ain't coming from up near Patterson. Nah, they from West New York. They from Nyack. They from Queens. You know what I mean? They from
Right.
Staten Island. They all over here. You know, and that's,
Exactly.
Like, get from over here with the begging. We got enough of that over here as it is. Go beg somewhere else.
but yeah, I
They
mean,
couldn't do that where they at, where they from. They
that's
couldn't do
why
it. They won't stand it.
that's why the school system is, kind of the way it is. And like you said, Todd, you're right. I mean, it's mostly invested in charter schools. I seem to find a new charter school every other week. I'm like, damn, like even in the building I work in, there's a charter school. And I'm like, oh, they literally have this building cut off for 3 floors just for a charter school.
That's
Around the
crazy.
corner is another charter school.
Exactly. And they just cramming these kids up in here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you have
And
one school with 3 schools inside. Because you
right,
done close 4 schools down. You close 4 schools down, and then you put all of those kids in one building that's already a school. So now we naming it, this the boys' charter school, and the second
right,
floor is the girls' charter school, and the first floor is Weekway. So you got
right.
all
Like
these kids
what?
coming
So
from
do you
all
guys know what
over.
that creates? I'm so sorry. I want to speak about this from a business
What?
perspective.
No,
You know what that creates?
What?
Entities. You know what entities create? Confusion. Do you know why it creates confusion? So let's say we got, boys' school, we got girls' school within the same building, right? Let's say the first floor with just administrative staff. You now got a one entity, now second entity, and we can merge them. And when money comes, we could divide them come no matter what. I could say that I'm getting 45,000 to one school or one division of the school with a different LLC.
Right.
Think about it. The tax brackets
Right.
change. That's what really comes down to. If I go create a business right now today and I take $20,000 and I put it in one entity, and then I take the other entity and I say, you know what, I got a $25,000 loan. Shh, this $5,000 gonna go over here to another entity. I just created a tax confusion that nobody is going to take a while for them to track me back to what I did and how I separated and divided and conquered my money. Think about that confusion here. Who's paying attention to that? So when I hear things about these charter schools and everything and their money, and I'm like, I need to see receipts. I need to see exactly what's being invested. We created, we closed 60 schools and we opened, 30 charters. And then think about this, the inconvenience to get that child from a school that was up the block because it was in their district. They're now going all the way across town.
Exactly.
Which creates transportation,
Exactly.
public transportation, busing. All of that stuff is additional funding. I could easily throw and say, you know what, I provided bus transportation. I created 16 charter schools, 15 million went into each school activity, and then 45,000 million was given to the buses, the transportation system. Who's going to check me? How you going to find it? Good luck. By the time you finish going through all my assets and running receipts, you're going to go and run in circles. And that's what it really creates. These separate entities, these separate businesses, these separate charter schools, these separate bus and transportation systems. All it does is create is confusion. And that at the end of the day, taxes, call it a write-off. Figure out what I'm putting my money. I'm going to go for the less dollar that you found, the easiest dollar that you found, 15 million, if that's what it is. That's an easy tax write-off. That's a Donald Trump strategy right there. Like, pay attention to that. The government is telling us right in front of our face. They playing right in front of our face, and we don't take any note or acknowledge that. So it's crazy. If they taught us, and this is why they don't want to teach us a lot about finances, because if you hear those stories and you hear certain things like that, you're like, immediately, I'm able to track that back.
I'm doing it right.
I'm gonna start doing some of what they do. I'm gonna create all of these entities in the IRS because they're free. Then you can go online and create whatever you want, and you could get a tax ID number for that. And then good luck. Good luck tracking my money. By the time you find it in one of those 15 entities I created, I don't know what you're talking about. I got that. I put it here, and that's where the money was. I came back. It wasn't there no more. I have no idea. Find my entities. Find the entities associated to me. What do you mean? I put my social security number in and it misconstrued it. You guys didn't catch it. Oh, well, that's your error.
Right.
You think about that stuff. There's a lot of red tape. A lot of red tape that we we see and we don't acknowledge. So that's just one thing that I got to talk about with the school curriculum. I think that's really why they don't want to teach them finance responsibilities, as well as
Right.
a lot of the information that we went over the whole. Just give them 1+1 at this point. Like at least let them
Yeah.
be able to count. Goodness sake, you know what I mean? Count their fingers and toes. For God's sake,
Right.
so that they step out there, they're not looking like idiots trying to, count out their money. At least in
I
front of
mean,
them.
yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure the teachers are doing their best, but again, they're not really getting paid. And there's
Yeah.
always, the George Bush, mandate of no child left behind. Like that really
Oh, that's
education in general.
crazy.
That
It's
rule
like
right
they want
there is.
to force these kids through. Instead of taking the time to properly have these children taught. You know how hard it is to get left back now. Like that's not an easy thing.
No,
Like,
it's almost impossible. You have to
Yes.
just not show up. Sometimes you don't even have to just not show up. I know kids who never even showed up, and then it's time for my kids to graduate. They come across to get a diploma. I'm like, that kid.
Is that I've
Okay.
seen it happen.
I'll never
Okay.
forget this one kid in
So
my
this is what we
fifth
doing?
grade.
Wow.
Yeah. I never forget this one kid in my fifth grade got left back because he had a D in gym. He just was cut
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And he had to go to
Yeah.
summer
They
school
make you go
for
to summer
gym.
school.
You
Yeah.
gotta go to summer
But now
school for
you see,
gym.
it's no summer school anymore.
Yeah.
No summer school
No,
anymore.
no summer schools now.
It's no
No.
summer school. And to me, that is crazy because you could be sick. You could be doing something that could be going on at home. Something could be happening. Give kids a fighting chance. Let them, like,
Mhm.
that bothers me.
Yeah,
Let them make it up. Let them make it up. They don't want that. They want you to fail. They want you. And that's weird to me. I'm like, wait. So you mean to tell me this child could be like some crazy? I'm gonna say, I don't know that even credits is anymore. Like, what you have to what amount of credits you have to actually graduate. I don't remember. I don't know what it is. I know my kid just graduated. I was happy about that. As long as they graduated, but I don't know what the actual number is to actually graduate. But if this person missed out on something, or this person something happened, you mean to tell me they can't make it up? You're not giving them a chance. To me, that is a spit in the face. It's like, okay, wow, yeah, it bothers me. I don't get that part. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
do you guys want to touch on two of the biggest things being
What?
taught in the actual school system right now, which I'm completely against? I just want to let you
Yeah.
know,
Oh no, please don't
transparency
say what I think you're gonna
purposes.
say about we kind of touched on a little bit that Victor touched on.
Yes.
'Cause
So
I'm out the
one
Yeah.
of them is religion.
Mhm.
okay,
Let my
cool.
kid be. Whatever I teach them at home, let it be. And then
Exactly.
sexuality. I think
Right.
sexuality, while each individual experience their own, I think that is up to that individual and that it should not be brought into a school system. I
No,
think
Right.
that identifying and giving that name of what an individual is, I don't think it's fair necessarily,
Yeah.
especially
Right.
But
depending on the age group, but that's just my opinion. I'm sorry. Go.
yeah, they do that. I'm sorry, they do that because that's how you get additional funding. A lot of these
I'm aware. Yeah. I'm
LGBT
going.
and feminist groups will go ahead and spend money in your school district if you're going to teach more about gender as a particular subject and embrace that and want to push the small minority of children who may be going through that sort of ideology or that sort of lifestyle to the forefront. And
Mhm.
in terms, what it does is that it conditions children to want to join that sort of ideology. It's want to be a part of that, even if
yeah,
that's
Kids are
not
easily
necessarily how
impressionable.
it's wired. Yes,
Right.
and then you wonder why I mean, unfortunately, the biggest target are the girls.
shit. Oh,
Right.
girl.
Yeah, the largest group of the B and LGBTQ happen to be girls.
Mm.
And particularly our girls.
Right.
So that's what's kind of pushed upon them, and God bless them nonetheless. Like, go through your sexual journey, learn who you are. I don't
Right,
want to take that from anybody. I don't want to see you have to hide that or put that
but
somewhere under
we
the
don't
bed.
really
But
we
I
don't
think it should be their personal journey, not
right.
necessarily brought
Exactly.
into
Right.
school with a curriculum and an
Yeah.
agenda. And the fact that
Right.
they
Exactly.
fund it is what I'm questioning. I question the fact that they fund it because when you fund something, think about what it creates. When you
Mhm.
fund something, you're giving that support to, you're encouraging it,
Uh-huh.
and you're saying,
Mhm.
do this. You should make this happen, regardless of how you feel. But this is what we're telling you should feel. You're shoving it down
Right.
people's throat, and now you get $1.00 for it. And I think that's the part that's a little unfair.
And
You
yes,
know, if a
right.
boy is born a boy and a girl is born a girl, and whatever they identify outside of it, when they go home and they say, I like to feel like this and I want to dress like that, that's your prerogative. But to come into a school system and sit down as a teacher and tell me, you know, what you want to be called, a she or he? I'm a kid.
Exactly.
I'm a kid. I want to
Right.
be
I'm a
called
whole
the
kid.
dinosaur. Leave me alone. Like
Let
that's
me run
what,
around
and
being a
that's
kid.
the simplicity of it to me. They're kids. They're supposed to be imaginative. They're supposed to have creative
Right.
niches. They're supposed to be able to be like, okay, this is what I want to tap into. I want to be a police officer when I grow up. I want to be a construction worker. I want to be a freaking me. I wanted to be the moon. I'll be very honest. I wanted to be the moon. It was everywhere. It was bright, and I thought it was pretty. It was fun with
Right.
everybody everywhere they went, and I wanted to be the moon. If I said that at 5 and they said we support it, I would be like, something is wrong with these adults. Why is that any different than what's happening right now in the world? And the fact that they fund it is, again, I'm going to say it. I don't want to say what anybody feels is wrong, because that is your prerogative and your business. I stand by
Right.
you 1000%. I also have someone in my house that I support. But I do want to say, at the age of 5, you could be a million things in your childlike mind. So
Yeah,
why
Right.
you are
Exactly.
Not
gender
that.
specific is what is questioning to me. Be a fireman if that's what you want to be. You know, you
Right.
want to be, you know, the scarecrow, be the scarecrow. Be whatever you want, but it should not be gender specific. And that's
Exactly.
the
and
stance that
again,
I
that
go
you
with.
know, that's another thing that kind of pushes a lot of male teachers out of the school system in general. Because you know, if you are heterosexual male and you know, what I mean, you have a particular outlook on the world, you don't want to infringe upon some young child's thoughts because you got to understand that you know that that's a problem for your job career wise. You know what
Mm.
sort of environment you're walking into, and that environment is not very conducive to heterosexual men, and particularly heterosexual black men. You know, unless you have a bit of a, you know, anything goes sort of mentality. You know, it's very hard to be that sort of stringent one. So you either become the guard dog for the more troubled children, or you become the pariah within your own school district. And
Right.
it's not
Right.
worth it at 50,000 a year. It's
It's
not.
not.
Child is 7 years old. I don't want nobody to teach her that. I'll teach
No.
when I feel like it's appropriate for her and age appropriate. I want to be the one to teach it to
I
her.
teach mine not to judge anybody. Let them do what they do. That's their journey. Let them go on
Exactly.
it, and I'm fine with
Exactly.
that.
But what I want to take away from
Right.
that is that, you know, while everybody is free to their opinion and whatever they like,
Right.
we just prefer not it to be taught in school, especially to
Right.
children.
Right.
Children
That's it.
have
Right.
the right to be free as free spirits that they want to be,
Right.
without the necessary discussion of gender or what their sexuality is, as well as religion. So those are the two topics
Right.
that I would
Yeah.
love to keep
Right.
out of the curriculum. But when I think about curriculums, I think of curriculums like politics. And that's a crazy statement right there. Political issues. Think about that, because they're already preset agendas.
Right.
Think about that. They're already preset agendas. Whenever you elect someone in office, just like you put a teacher in a classroom, they already have their curriculum. They already know what their agenda is, and that's pretty much it.
So thank you guys for joining us again. We are the Grown Up Group. Please share, subscribe. I'm here with Ty, Jazz, Vic. I'm Kira. Love, peace, and thank you guys.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so on to our next topic, challenges we face every day in the workplace, just everyday challenges that we face. Anyone want to chime in on that? You want?
Oh, I feel like it
And
should be
I'm
like
about to
a
say,
song. Like, you remember when we were kids, it'd be like, my back hurt, my bra too tight, shake my booty from the
Right.
left to the right. It's
right,
kind of like that. I could go on and on. Like, you want
right,
me to chant it? I could chant it. Racial equality, racism, systemic racism, good jobs, diversity,
right,
healthcare, discrimination, microaggression, biases, dispute from authority, inclusion policies, love and learning to love myself as well as other people. Whoa, what a word.
right,
Yeah, so those are my things. Those are my daily struggles I know that I have. When I say racial inequality, Jesus,
Inequality.
inequality, racism, systemic racism, good jobs, diversity. You could take all of that and discrimination and just ball it up with microaggression and just basically roll it down a bowling alley, because every day when we walk out the house, and I don't care if you're a man or woman, we're all faced with that because of our skin tone. So, you know, it's sad to say that even amongst our own, and I mean, I love everyone within this group for their own different reasons. Our personalities and everything is different. But at the end of the day, if I can't look at my brother or my sister respectively and see that we all struggle the same and have a total love and humiliation for it, because if we don't have each other, then what the fuck do we have? And I'm sorry. I hear all of this back and forth about men versus women. And I'm like, what are we talking about? This is madness. We all have the same struggle. We come every day and step into this world out of our beds, jump into a shower, step out in this world and get kicked constantly. I don't care if you're light skin, brown skin, they see black first and immediately we're a target. Get over your selves. Get over your fucking selves. We're all brown. It should be equality. When you see me, you should nod and smile, not give me a fucking hard time. You should not look at me and see me as a threat because I'm a woman that's independent and work hard. I can't stand. It's like I speak of things when I'm like really passionate about it. I get so angry because I'm like, how do people not see this? Like, we struggle so badly, but yet you're gonna tell me I'm a piece of shit and I'm like a mother and take care of people and live in this world and I'll survive plus years. You know, think about that. That's
that comes from somewhere else. That comes from somewhere else. That comes from somewhere. Something else happened to them.
It should. It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
No,
it shouldn't. It should be so simple as you look at me and you see a brown sister, someone of equality and the same as you, and say that woman's experiencing the same drama and trauma that I am, and that's that
we're not allowed
to be able to say. I used to see Black people and get so happy, like, oh, there go my girl, there go my guy.
Right.
And I'm such a cheerleader for women power and being strong and supporting each other. Anybody could come and ask me for anything, a job, not anything, keep my money out of your pocket. But, you know, like jobs and conversation. And I'm like, girl, yes, do it, girl. Guys, same thing. Pat you on the back. I got guys I consider my brother. I grew up since 11 to all the way to this day. And I'm like, and I love them wholeheartedly. And if I ever sat there and kicked their backs in, I would be less of a Black woman for it. And every time I see a Black guy do it to a Black woman, I think less of him for it. I hear this constant repeat thing that Black men do not love Black women. I feel that such a hard and foolish statement sometimes, because at the end of the day, you had a grandmother. I know you loved your nana. I know you loved your nana. I know you loved your abuela. I know you loved your grandmother. I know you loved your yaya. I don't give a fuck what you call it. You loved her. And if she was my complexion or hue darker or hue lighter, that's where your heart is. Done. Your mother, the same. Your aunts, the same. Your cousins, the same. Your sister, the same. I don't care what turmoil you've been through, but at the end of the day, if you don't acknowledge it, and I'm going to go back, if you don't acknowledge that love, then you are avoiding a big hole in your own place and presence that needs to be confronted and dealt with.
Exactly.
Period. And I'm just speaking because I'm like, you know, it behooves me to think. I said that word twice today. It behooves me to think that you could sit here and be a Black person and be like, oh, I hate that Black girl. Oh, I hate that. I hate Black women because they got an advantage to come up. What come up? What struggle? What are you talking about? We going through the same drama. You do not see the struggle that I have. I don't care if the government is giving me assistance. I don't care if I'm going to a 9 to 5 and working 40 hours. I don't care about none of that. At the end of the day, I'm still not a step ahead of you because I'm still a Black woman.
One thing about me, not gonna talk crazy about Black people, and then one thing I'm not gonna have is nobody talking crazy about Black women. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
exactly. So, no, I'm sorry. No, and although they act like they were playing, they were for real, because that's how you think of us Black women. We all got Section 8. We all get food stamps. We all get
child support. Child support. Like, no. We all get none of that. Like, no.
Exactly.
And I like I said, it was just because because I go through things myself. I'm a single parent. I've been a single parent for almost 24 years. And it was so many days I came home and I'm talking physically hurt. My body would not cooperate. I went through so many things with my body, and it was like, I found out I had fibromyalgia, and that really did something to me. And it's like, it is a illness, a sickness, whatever you want to call it. It's so bad to where it says I can't even think straight or function. The pain is just that unbearable. So it's like, I come home, even though I had a man, I had to come a man who was like, nothing wrong with you.
Mm.
You was lazy. I'm like, no, something is wrong with me. It just jumped on me out of nowhere. Something is wrong. Help me figure it out. Instead of helping me figure it out, you're lazy. You're good for nothing. But it also, like I'm saying to say this, it went back because he had no mother. He had
Right.
no woman. And then come to find out, your father married another woman, and he barely value her. So you learned this from your father. So you bring it to me, and I'm not having it. You got to go. But the question just was, who takes care of us? Who, when we get home, who has food ready for us? You know, some men
Exactly.
do. I can say that some men do. But the majority, nobody takes care of us. We have to figure things out on our own. We are working.
On
We are
our own.
Oh, we picked that man. We did not pick that man. We picked who he presented to us.
Yeah.
He presented this nice guy who was going to, maybe was in college at the time, or had a nice job, and and then you get with him, have a kid, and he's a whole monster.
Right.
Whole monster. So it was like, now I'm down here with this kid. Now I gotta go get on welfare, put you on child support. I'm trying to get housed. I'm trying to do something. Oh, you picked him. I did not pick this man. I picked who he presented himself to be, which was a lie. And it gets thrown off on us. Never mind, he take care of this child. Never mind that. Oh, but you picked him. Can he pick a job and come take care of this kid? How about he do that? It ain't about me and him no more. It's about me and this kid. So again, it was like, I just wanted to know who takes care of us, because don't nobody take care of us. And we got the black men looking at us crazy when we speak to them.
But you know what? There's a statement that actually says, you know, no one's protected like a black woman. No one protects a black woman, right?
Nobody.
It's been out there for years. But my thing of it is this, right? I don't really care about the love choice or whoever selected what. At the end of the day, we're individuals, and we do have to maintain ourselves to a degree, right? And I'm not saying, but when we look at men, we can't have our cake and eat it too, because I would love to soften myself. I would love to not have to work a job. I would love to not have to go through certain components of life, but I'm an adult, right? I'm an adult. I have to be responsible for my actions. I have 4 children here. I have to feed, make sure that they're provided for and protected, right? So every day I got to wake up, and that's what my storyline presents me. We all have different storylines, but at the end of the day, when I walk out this door and I look at another black individual, all I know that I see is the same struggle that I have.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. And I think sometimes it can be taught on to others, because if I say to someone, and I'll post something like that in a group, and I say something like, hey, who protects a black woman? It's an open statement. Of course, they're going to go for the lowest blow, but I wouldn't even presented it that way. What I would have said is this: when times are hard and you need someone in your corner and someone to struggle with and identify your struggle, who else is perfect to do it besides a black man? Think about it from that perspective.
And no,
because if you have a commonality, right? And I know that if you got a good black man, and if you got a great, a support system, and I don't even want to say man, fuck it, I'll say family members, because that's who got me through my kids and my journey. It was the kids and the kids' mother and the abuela, and it was the aunts and the uncles. It was all of that. I can't blame necessarily a black man because I chose to lay down with one and he failed me. I can't necessarily blame him, because I could be putting that stigma that went wrong on my one black guy that I chose on everyone.
You don't want to put on everybody.
And I wouldn't want to do that. Even though they do that to me, I wouldn't want to give that back to them. What I would do and present it as is, wouldn't it be nice to? Wouldn't it be amazing to come and be able to lay down next to a black man that's going to be supporting and loving to me? Think about it from that perspective. Because if I ask the question, and I'm dealing with, look at where you posted it, fools. Let's be honest. Fools, they're going to come and act out, because that's what we get on it for. We act out to be fools. They saw your question and they took light to it. They're like, yeah, whatever. And they probably sitting right next to their girl that's a black woman with their children.
And the main one
still clowning. It's still clowning,
but
because that's what that platform does. So I'm not going to take a wholehearted, serious statement and go plug it on a platform where I know that they clown all damn day. And look at your.
But no, not even that. It's like,
okay, that's what they do. They clown all day. So that's all they know how to do. But I would just go back and present it in a different way. Like, what a different response you would get. It's like, then you get those creeps in your inbox instead that would say, hey girl.
Oh, no, they were.
I can show you what I could do.
No, some of them were actually on the post. They were actually on the post, like, I wish I could screenshot it now. I got a screenshot. Okay. And somebody said, well, I help take care of you. I do this and I do that. I said, but it's chosen few.
Yeah,
I asked a
yeah,
simple question, but why do I gotta present my question differently? Like, come on, where's our support at? Why I love it. I go
yeah.
walk on eggshells around y'all and reword it so it won't get misconstrued, but you know what I meant from the beginning.
One challenge bring on another challenge. That challenge bring on another challenge, and you got all these challenges.
And then we just
Life.
angry at
I
each
call it
other. We
life.
angry
I
at
sum it up as
everything.
life.
For
Yeah,
real.
sum it up as
It-
life. Victor, do you have any struggles that you like to present or talk about?
I mean, you kind of nailed it on the head, So, I mean, for me, it's an overall thing of white supremacy being a dominating issue.
Mhm.
Uh, that is the first, foremost, and second. That's number one, two, three on my list at all times. You know, um, everything else is kind of secondary. Pretty much it. I mean, we got to remember that one particular thing that's very important. It's the survival of our people.
That's it.
Survival of Black Americans should be the number one thing, and that should be the struggle that we all should be striving to make sure that we can ensure on a daily basis. Because it's a
Right.
24-hour, 7-day-a-week war. Everything else kind of gets muddled in. And like I said, there are gripes and there are reasons for that. But as far as a daily struggle, my daily struggle is to make sure I don't end up on a poster because of
Right.
some no good hoodlum or end up in a cell because of some dirty cop. But
Yeah.
then again, I
Right.
have no problem going to the cell or to the morgue if it's for the right cause.
Right.
Right.
So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Right. And another thing for me, like we struggle so much, we have to fight the world. Why we gotta fight each other? I don't want to fight y'all. I don't want to fight. I want
Exactly.
peace. I want to love on you. I am in love with Black men. It's like I'm fighting you. I don't want to fight y'all. Do y'all want me to go over to the other side? I don't want to go over there. I don't want nothing over there. Appease like nothing over there turns me on. I promise you it don't. I
Yeah.
promise you
Right.
it don't. Give me the darkest thing on the in the crayon box. I love you too much to hate you. I have no hatred towards you. I want to come home to you. Only you. I want to come home happy. I want to come home to a house. I want you to make this house a home. I want you to be a protector and a provider. We face too much as people to come home and fight each other or be in the streets fighting each other. I don't want to fight you, Black man. I don't. I'm tired. I don't want to
Right.
fight you.
I get that, and
I
I do understand it.
mm,
I think we cover a lot of what we actually face. We face a lot.
a
And
lot.
it's unfortunate. We face, a lot of things that's racial. We do face the complexity of Black love. We do also face, our freedom and, making sure we stay free and not dead. We
Right.
face police brutality. There's so many things that we face on a day to day. So that's really a big thing.
Thank you for joining us again. We are the Grown Up Group. Please share, like, subscribe. I'm here with Ty, Jazz, Vic. I'm Kira. Thank you and have a good night.
Hit him with the
Good
Peace.
night.
shoulders. Hit him with the shoulders.
That's a shimmy. That's a shimmy from
Shoulder.
Color Purple.
We're gonna call you shoulders next time. Bye.